and welcome on tonight. I'm Ina Hines, and I want to welcome you to our credit repair presentation on tonight. This is the opportunity for you to share this live with your family, with your friends, because we definitely want to be smarter than our creditors when it comes to repairing our credit or even handling credit. And so tonight, our presentation is on how you can repair your credit or even manage your credit in a wise way on tonight. I do encourage you to take your notes. If you have questions, you can leave those in the comments and we will go back and we will respond to the questions that you have because I'm sure that someone else may have the same question that you have. My co-laborers are not here with me on tonight. But I know Minister Walker is on her way and will be joining us shortly. But we're going to go ahead and get started on tonight and talk about this thing called credit. We know a lot of people are advertising for credit repair. You have independent businesses out there that are claiming to be able to fix your credit. But what about you being able to fix your own credit? And that just really takes practice. It takes being attentive to how you are managing your finances and how you're managing your credit. Credit repair organizations are enforced by the Federal Trade Commission, and you can go to the Federal Trade Commission website, and there's a lot of information that's out there as well when it comes to credit repair. And so you do have rights you can exercise if these credit organizations or the credit repair organization do not meet up to the promises that they are making. Because again, you see a lot of ads that are out there, and you see them on Facebook, you'll see them on Instagram, you'll see them on a lot of the social media platforms. And so again, if they're not fulfilling the promise that they said that they will be able to do for you in repairing your credit, you do have the right to file a complaint with the Federal Trade Commission. And so the reality is that we can work on repairing our credit on our own. And so what many of us need is a good roadmap. And that's what we're here tonight, is to give you a good roadmap in being able to fix or repair, if you will, your credit. And when you repair your credit, working towards it, it even improves your credit score as well. There's a lot of quick fixes when it comes to credit repair. And so having a plan is more effective than spending money for someone to do what you can work on yourself. And that takes time, that takes patience as well when it comes to trying to repair your credit yourself. And I know that for myself, many, many years ago, Consumer Credit Counseling is one of the organizations that I used many years ago to help me to get my credit back on track. And so again, there's some good credit organizations out there that can help you. But what about being able to just help yourself to being able to have that patience and have that efficiency in being able to repair your own credit? One of the first things you want to do when you're working towards repairing your credit, you want to make sure that you order that free copy of your credit report every year, because you want to see what is on your credit that is affecting your credit score. Sometimes people neglect ordering that free credit report. And so when they look at their credit score, they're wondering why, what's going on with my credit score. Well, you have to pull that annual report to find out what is going on and what is affecting your credit score, exactly what elements are playing a role in, what is affecting your credit score. And so some of those elements that does affect your credit score when you're talking about your credit report, you want to look at the payment history. What creditors want to see is that you are timely in making debt payments. if an account goes into collection or it goes into foreclosure or you go into foreclosure or even a bankruptcy, can have a longer impact on your credit. So that creditor is looking at your payment history when it comes to your credit report because they want to make sure that you are able to pay your debt in a timely manner without that debt going to collections or without you even going bankrupt. And so your payment history accounts for 35% of your FICO score. So when you're looking at your you're looking at your score and you're trying to figure out what is affecting your score and what has your score, so low, you want to take in consideration that payment history. Look at your payment history on your credit report and see how timely you have been making those monthly payments on those credit cards. Just know you're entitled to that free credit report. So take advantage of that because it's free. Every year you want to order that free credit report. You can get a free one from Equifax, Experian, TransUnion. You can go to the annualreport.com website, or you can even call the 877 number, which is 1-877-322-8228. You can order that report off the phone. Usually for myself, I just try to, go online and order it because they can send that to you by email, by phone, by mail. It just really depends. You have your options. You choose how you want them to send you that free credit report. But look at your credit history and see how well you've been making those payments on time. And keep in mind that that payment history accounts for 35% of your FICO score. Okay, that's just 35%. That's just a small portion, 35%. Okay, so I hope you wrote that down in your notes. Okay, the second thing, you want to look at the amounts you owe your creditors. The amount you borrow affects your credit as well as the available balance that you have on those credit cards. Your credit utilization ratio is important. And a lot of people are like, I never even heard of a credit utilization ratio. And so that's something that we need to take in consideration. We really do need to educate ourselves on this thing called a credit utilization ratio because it's important because, believe it or not, that affects 30% of your credit score. So now we're looking at, when you look at the payment history and you look at that credit utilization ratio, now you're looking at what, 65% of your score being affected by those two things, your payment history and what your utilization rate is. For those of you who don't know what a credit utilization rate is, it is the percentage of available credit that you're using on your credit cards and other lines of credit. Meaning, if you took out a loan with your bank or you took out a loan from a loan agency, then they are taking those things in consideration when it comes to this utilization. Okay, it's based on the balances that appear in your credit report. It is better to have a low utilization rate than a higher rate. To explain it better, it is the amount of revolving credit you're using divided by the total amount of revolving credit you have available. And so that calculation depends on the balances and the credit limits of your credit on your credit from your credit report, which may be different from your current credit limit and balances because we know that those credit reports are updated at certain periods of time throughout the year. And so it may be a little bit different than what your actual balance are currently when you actually check it. But still, it does play a role in your credit score, your FICO score. So there's two types of credit utilization ratios. You have the per card and the overall. The per card utilization measures how much of each card limit you're using, while the overall utilization takes all your cards and their limits into account. And so if you want to understand that a little bit better, you can always go to the Nerve Wallet online, or you can always, again, go to the Federal Trade Commission, because, again, they have a lot of credit information out there that can help you with improving your credit. So when we talk about this credit utilization ratio, and I'll show you how to calculate that in a few minutes. When you talk about that credit utilization rate, um, what are some of those things that impacts that particular ratio? Well, the credit cards, of course, the personal lines of credit. Again, those are loans that you may get from your bank or credit union or any other business that does do loans, like Republic Finance, or those types of things that do loans. Home equity lines of credit, that also plays a role in this utilization. Closed revolving accounts with outstanding balance, they play a role in that credit utilization score. And so that's why it's so important to order that free annual credit report, so that you can see where you are when it comes to this credit utilization ratio. Because, again, the lower your score, the better it is. Okay. And so I'm going to show you how to calculate this utilization ratio, because I want to make sure that you do understand. And so I'm here sharing with you on my screen. So I'll leave it up a few minutes as we talk about this and how to calculate your credit utilization rate. What you want to do when you get that credit report, you want to add up the balances on all your credit cards. Okay. Again, the first step, add up all the balances on your credit cards. The second step you want to do, you want to add up the credit limits on your cards. Okay. So you have your balances and you have your credit. Okay. Then you want to divide the total balance by the total credit limit. And again, you're gonna know what these things are. Again, you gotta have to order that free credit report, and you have to know how much you owe your creditors. And then the last step, you want to multiply by 100 to see your credit utilization ratio as a percentage. Okay, and that'll tell you what percentage rate your utilization is at once you do all those steps. And I have a little example here that I'm going to show you. For example, let's say you have two credit cards, both are carrying a $500 balance. One card has $2,000 credit limit, the other has $3,000 credit limit. And so that works out to a credit utilization ratio of 20%, which you can write it as one fifth. Okay. And so the way that you came up with that, you would have come up with this 20%. What your utilization ratio is, that you of course multiplied 500, because both, and I multiplied, if you had two different balances here, then of course you would add, but I went ahead and just multiplied because both cards had $500. And so that gave me a total of 100 one gave me a total of $1,000 balance that I had together on those two credit cards. Then you want to, of course, add up your credit limits. Remember our steps that we talked about a few minutes ago. So we're going to add up our credit limits. You have your 2,000 plus your 3,000, that equals 5,000. And then you want to divide that $1,000 of our credit card balance, $1,000, because remember we had two cards, came up to $1,000. We want to divide that by 5,000, which is, of course, that's our credit limit that we have. And once we do that, that gives us that 20%, and that 20% ends up being our credit utilization ratio. Okay. And so you can do that, if you are good with keeping track of your own credit card balances and your limits and all that outside of ordering that credit report, you can do this on a monthly basis if you're that good and that skilled with keeping track of all of your credit card debt balances, all this stuff. So every month you can see where you are with your credit utilization, but also with your own payment history as well. If you are, because who knows better than yourself whether or not you're paying your bills on time. Okay. So you can very well know all this stuff without ordering your credit report, but your credit report, it kind of gives you a big picture, if you will, of how you are doing with managing the credit that you have. Okay. And so you can monitor, you can fix your own credit when you're able to keep track of these things, these very important things that do affect your credit report. Okay. And so to make the calculation less consuming, you can always go online because online has a lot of calculators out there. And so you can go online. They do have a free credit utilization calculator that's out there. If you're not good with calculating on your calculator, because some of us not, okay? So we have to use a tool to help us with the calculations, but they do have a free credit utilization calculator out there that you can save on your computer. And again, keep track of your utilization percentage each month if you want to. If you want to do it quarterly, you can do it quarterly to see where you are, especially if you're planning on purchasing a home, in the next few months, or you're trying to plan, some kind of trip or what have you. Is always, or even buying a purchase in a new vehicle, it's always good to know where you are, so that you'll know how far off you are before you actually reach your goal. So you want to keep track of, again, the payment history. You always also want to keep track of your credit utilization, because all of these things do play a role in your FICO score. So if you see that your score is low and you want to pull that score up, look at those two factors, because those things do affect your credit report. Remember, the payment history affects 35%, and your credit utilization ratio affects 30%. Okay. And together, that's what? 65% right there. Okay. So, what are the other factors that play a role in your credit score and in you repairing your credit? The third thing is the length of your credit history. You have to be mindful of how long you've had that credit card, how long that account's been open, and all these kind of things. Because the longer your credit history, the higher your credit score tends to be when you manage your credit properly. That means you're making your payments on time. Your account is not going to collections, and it's not putting you in a place where you have to file for bankruptcy. And so the longer you have that credit card and you're managing that credit properly, the better your score is going to be. Okay. The length of your credit history accounts for 15% of your credit score. 15%. Okay. So you want to pay attention. Again, when you get that credit report, pay attention to how long you have had this credit card or this line of credit, because it will affect your credit score. And you want to make sure that you, again, are making your payments in a timely manner, because that does impact your credit. And not does it impact your credit once, but it will impact your credit twice, because the payment history, what percentage did I say that affects your credit score? 35%, right? So if you're not making your payments on time, it's going to affect that 35% that accounts towards your credit score. But not only is it going to affect that 35%, but it's also going to affect this 15% that we're talking about when we talk about the length of your credit history. Okay. And so, according to Experian, the FICO scoring system evaluates your experience with credit by measuring the age of your oldest credit account, the age of your newest credit account, and the average age of all of your accounts together. And so all of those accounts equates to 15% that will affect your credit score. So you want to look at all those things. Look at how long you had your newest, your most recent credit card. Look at how long you had the oldest credit card, and look at what the average is altogether, because all that plays a role in this 15% that counts towards your credit score. The fourth thing you want to look at is the credit mix. When we talk about credit mix, think about having somebody having a portfolio. And when you have a portfolio, of course, you have diverse things that's a part of that portfolio, right? And so think of credit the same way. What is the diversity rate that you have when it comes to your credit? Okay. Do you have just credit cards? Do you have just a line of credit? What is the combination that you have that is going on with your credit? Having different types of credit accounts for 10% of your FICO score. So you want to have some diversity going on. You want to have that line of credit. You want to have that credit card. But again, manage it properly. You have to manage it properly. Does that mean that you need to take out a loan every month? Once you paid off one? No, that does not mean that. That means, what it means is that when they're looking at your credit report and they are assessing your credit score, they want to see that you have the ability to manage a diversified array of credit, if you will. Okay, they want to see that you can handle a variety of different forms of credit. Okay, and so the ability to successfully manage multiple debts and different credit types tend to benefit your credit score. Again, the credit scoring system favors a mixture of installment debt, such as how well are you paying your student loans? How well are you paying your mortgages? Your mortgage or mortgage, some people have multiple mortgages. How well are you paying that? Car loans. How are you timely with your car loans? Personal loans. Those are variety types of credit that we tend to get, as we are living in this life. Those are various types of credit. What does your revolving credit looks like? Those are cards like, if you have a Cato card, you have a Sears card, you have a JC Penney card, what does that look like? Do you have a variety of credit lines of credit? Credit cards, mortgage, car note, what does it look like? Okay, so they look at the mixture of your credit. Again, that accounts for how much? 10% of your FICO score. So if you see your score is not where you want it to be, these are some areas that you need to assess, make some adjustments so that your credit score will come up versus going down. Okay, and then fifth, new credit cards. New credit cards, they play a role in that FICO score, and they have a category of its own when it comes to that FICO score. The new credit cards will account for 10%, okay? 10% of your credit score is impacted by new credit cards, okay? Anytime and this includes inquiries, because we know sometimes you have, when you go order your credit report, you see that section that says inquiries. Those are people that pulled your credit to look and see what your credit is like, so they can send you that free promotion in the mail. Okay, that's what those things are. Or if you even went to the dealership and you was thinking about purchasing a vehicle, and they pulled your credit because they wanted to see what your credit looked like. Those are inquiries, and those things do affect your credit score. Anytime inquiries are done on your credit, the credit score decreases by 5% or less. Let me say that again, because you want to be attentive when you go out there to that dealership, or you go looking for a new house, or what have you. You want to pay attention to how often your credit is being pulled. Okay, if you are not sure about that new car, you are not sure about that new house, ask them to do a soft pull. They don't have to do a hard pull initially. They can do a soft pull to see where you are. Because once they do that hard pull of your credit, you're going to lose 5%, 5 points or less on your credit score. And again, that depends on what place is pulling your credit. Okay. And so each inquiry is considered separately and can have a bigger impact if you apply for several cards in a short time. It takes about a few months for your credit score to improve. But again, you want to pay attention to how many times your credit is being pulled, how many times people are submitting inquiries on your regarding your credit, because these things will impact your credit score. It will cause the your credit score to drop depending on the amount of inquiries that has been made on your credit report. So watch those things, because there are things you can do about those inquiries. Okay. And I know some of you know about Clark Howard talks about the freezing your credit. You can freeze your credit until you actually ready, to make that big purchase. Okay, that's one option that you have to prevent people from pulling those inquiries without your knowledge, just to send you those promotionals through the mail. And so knowing all these factors can help you to repair your credit. Again, you have to look at this stuff and take it seriously, because you can do something about your own credit score without having to hire these organizations to help you to repair your credit. It just requires your patience. It requires you being attentive. It requires you doing the work. Remember, your payment history accounts for how much? 35% of your FICO score. Then your utilization rate, it affects how much? 30% of your credit score. Then you have the length of your credit history. It affects 15%. How diverse your credit is affects 10%. And again, those new credit cards affect 10% of that FICO score. So if you can just focus in and key in on those key components, that will help you to repair your own credit and get your credit to where you want it to be. Again, it takes planning, it takes patience, but I know that you can do it. Finally, disputing your credit, because sometimes you might have to dispute some things on your credit report. It doesn't cost a thing for you to dispute your credit. If you see something on your credit report that should not be on your credit report, you have the right to dispute that that thing, that error on your credit report. And so if there's a mistake or appears to be fraud on your report, you have the right to dispute. You can contact the credit reporting companies and the organization that provided the inaccurate information, because that company's information is on your credit report. And so you can call that number of that organization and let them know, hey, I see that you pull my credit. I've never applied for any credit for you. I'm trying to find out what's going on. You can dispute these things on your credit report. Negative information will remain on your credit report for 7 years. However, a bankruptcy remain for 10 years, and only you can work to correct that incorrect information. And how can you correct that information? By being attentive to what's going on with your credit and who's pulling your credit and how often they're pulling your credit, keeping track of how you are handling your credit. Any unpaid judgments against you, it remains on your credit as well for 7 years, or until the statute of limitation is met, whichever one is longer. And some states have their own set statute of limitations when it comes to these unpaid judgments. Okay, some don't have a limitation at all, and that creditor can come after you even after 25-30 years. They trying to get their money. Okay, so be mindful of these things. The Georgia statute of limitation on debt is 6 years for written contract and 4 years for oral contract, open accounts, and credit card debt. So look up if you have debt on your credit report that has not been paid, and it's been years and years, it's still on your credit report. You have the right to bring that to to try to dispute that or try to work with that creditor to try to get that resolved off of your credit report, because some creditors will take a low amount to close out and settle that balance that is on your credit report. Okay. So repairing your credit. So again, what have we covered tonight? We've covered how, the things we can look for to help us to repair our credit. We've looked at disputing our credit. If you go to the Federal Trade Commission website, they do have a handbook that's out there for consumers, and it does have a template letter that you can use if you thinking about disputing something on your credit. You can use that template. Remember, you're changing the words to fit whatever your creditor is, and send that to your creditor to try to dispute that particular error that's on your credit report. But also, you can just call the creditor and have a discussion with them as well to try to resolve that issue. And then finally, repairing our credit. Preparing our credit, we want to work out a payment plan with creditors if it's necessary. If you have a outstanding debt that you owe a creditor and you know that there's no way that you can pay them within that year or within the time frame that they're asking, you can call that creditor and work out a payment plan with that creditor. Even if it's in collections, you find out who that collection agency is and work out a payment plan with that agency so that you can get that thing cleared off of your credit report. Also, you want to keep track of your debt and what you spend. You can use a little spreadsheet or however you want to do it. You can use a piece of paper, but you want to keep track of those things. You also want to consider hiring a credit counselor if you're not disciplined enough to handle your debt or even to make a plan. And it's okay. It's okay, because some of us are not good with planning and keeping track of our finances, our credit, or our debt. Sometimes you may need a credit counselor to help you to put something together so that you can just have some kind of plan to work out or walk by when it comes to handling your credit to get to where you're trying to go. Remember, repairing your credit requires a what? A roadmap. And so a credit counselor can give you a roadmap to help you to get to where you're trying to go when it comes to repairing your credit. So you can breathe, okay? It's okay to have a credit counselor to help you to repair or fix your credit, okay? You want to make payments throughout the month to help reduce your credit card balance. And it's unfortunately, especially the young generation, y'all, they cannot handle finances like they should, okay? I don't know what it is. But if you want to make sure that you're making your payments on time, based on how you get paid, you very well can pay a little bit throughout the month that by the time the end of the month comes, you done paid that monthly payment. And you have not put out a large amount of money up front, if you will, but you paid on that debt throughout that month, a few times throughout the month, based on your payments, how often you get paid. That's what I want to say. How often you get paid. You can come up with your own plan, okay, to make sure that that debt is paid in a timely fashion. Because sometimes when you get that paycheck, you may not have that full $100 to pay at the first of the month, and you may have to spread it out a little bit longer by doing what? Paying maybe $50 the first of the month and pay the other $50 at the end of the month. Guess what? Now you done paid that $100 for that month that you owe. Okay, be wise about how you're handling your finances, how you're handling your credit card payments or your personal loan payments. Okay, so you can make payments throughout the month to help reduce your credit card balance. Also, you want to set a limit on your credit cards, which is something that we don't often do, but you can set a specific limit on your credit card. Let's say you apply for, I don't know if Sears even still exists, but let's say you got a Sears, you apply for a Sears card you can always call Sears to let them know, hey, I want to put a credit limit on a cap on the limit on this card because I don't want to go over this amount. You can do that. You can set a limit on your credit card so that you don't go over your credit limit. Okay. You also want to monitor the number of credit applications you complete. Remember, I talked about that inquiry. Every time you complete an application that requires a credit check, they are going to pull your credit. So you want to be mindful of how many applications that you are completing that requires them to pull or check your credit. Remember, you have the right to a soft pull. Okay, they can do a soft pull on your credit. Okay, and so that doesn't impact your credit as much as them doing a hard full credit review for your credit. You also again, I talked about the freezing your credit until you need it. All credit reporting organizations have the feature to freeze your credit card. Once you freeze your credit card, you can go back and unfreeze that credit card when you are ready. That your credit, excuse me, your credit. That's what I want to say. You can go back and unfreeze your credit when you're ready to actually use your credit to make a purchase. Okay, you can freeze it. And that's a good thing to actually freeze it because number one, it'll help you or protect you, if you will, from a lot of these scammers that are out here that are using other people's credit. Okay, because your credit is frozen, it can protect you in that regard. And so you want to be mindful of that. When you're ready to make that purchase, that's when you want to unfreeze your credit card so that you can make that purchase. Again, freezing your credit is a free service that all of the credit organization offers. You can just go online and freeze your credit and unfreeze it when you need it. And so those are some helpful tips that can help you with repairing your credit, fixing your credit, getting your credit to where it needs to be. Because again, you don't always have to hire some organization to help you fix your credit, but you can fix your credit on your own if you are patient enough again and you don't mind planning and being attentive to how you are using and managing your credit. Minister Walker, do you have any additional pointers that you want to give our viewers on today before we wrap up here?
I just wanted to add, it is helpful to freeze your credit, especially when you get, like for myself, you're always getting stuff in the mail for offering you loans or offering you credit cards. And I didn't realize how much it did have an impact on my credit report until I pulled my credit and I saw all these inquiries. I was like, well, what is this about? And when I really checked into it, is because I was getting all these unsolicited offers in the mail for credit. So it does have a high impact on your if you're getting many, it does have an impact on your credit score, a high impact for myself. So it did help me to put a freeze on my credit. So now I don't get the offers in the mail anymore. And it was really eye opening to understand why my credit score was dropping the way it was. So
Right,
that's very informative. Yes, we must pay
right.
attention to that.
Absolutely. We got to pay attention, you guys. We have to be smarter than our creditors because if we are not paying attention to our own credit, these creditors will do us any kind of way. So we have to be attentive to these things. Again, like I say, if you need a credit counselor, it's okay. Get a credit counselor to help you to get on track and to stay on track. It really is okay because at the end of the day, having that good credit score and keeping that good credit score is going to benefit you in the long run because you never know when you may have that next emergency that may require you to use your credit. And so if you have not been keeping track and keeping your credit in good standing all that time, that emergency take place and you have to apply for a personal loan or what have you, and you can't get that loan because your credit is messed up, you know, there's no one to blame except self, right? And so we are here today educating those viewers out there who need this education in how to repair your credit. Doing it yourself, it don't cost nothing, right? Except your time, except your patience and your attentiveness when it comes to repairing your credit. So I hope that you got some good stuff and good information out of this presentation today. Please, 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 if you need to go back and watch it again, it will be on it will remain on our Facebook Live. So you can always go back and review it again to get those pointers. If you were trying to take notes and maybe we were going a little bit too fast, you can go back and review it and take those notes that you need to take. But we just want everyone to have the information so that they can approve their credit score, because we know the housing market out here is crazy, and we know that a lot that they require you to have some good credit. And so we want to make sure that our viewers understand how things impact their credit score, because a lot of people don't know what plays a role in their FICO score. All they know is that I need to have a good credit score, you know. But knowing those things that impact your credit score can take you a very, very long way and help you to improve your credit. So again, we pray that you have gotten something good out of this presentation on today, and do feel free to share it with your family, your friends, to help them as well, because we definitely don't want to keep people in the dark, but we want you to know, what's affecting your credit score so that you can be proactive and strategic in getting that credit score to where you desire for it to be. Again, I thank you for watching, for tuning in. I'm Ina Hines again from Chosen for His Purpose Bible Institute, along with Minister Lisa Walker. We do want to encourage you to join us again on next Thursday for our Revelation teaching. We will go back to Revelation on next Thursday. But also, I want to encourage you, if you are, I know a lot of graduations have been taking place, and you may not have had that opportunity to, you may be having graduation parties that are coming up, or even anniversaries, birthdays, parties that are coming up, summer parties, what have you. I want to encourage you to reach out to Minister Walker, and she's going to give you your information, because Minister Walker makes the best cakes, cupcakes, whatever you want that's sweet. Minister Walker got you covered. So I'm going to let her give you her contact information. But I also want to share this announcement with you as well. Chosen for His Purpose Bible Institute will be having a fashion show August the 3rd. So if you're interested in being a model for the show, please email me at chosenforhispurpose@gmail.com. Email me at chosenforhispurpose@gmail.com, and I will get that information out to you so that we can get you set up for that August the 3rd fashion show. We will have designer Kenya Martin will be with us, as well as designer Jayana Welch will be with us on that evening for our fashion show in August. So if you're interested in being one of the models, please do reach out to me at chosenforhispurpose@gmail.com for that information. Minister Walker, if you could give the people your contact information if they're looking for those graduation cakes, those birthday cakes, anniversary cakes, because we want to make sure that they get what they need.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for the promo. Thank you. My point of contact is myself, Lisa Walker. My email address is delectable delicacies@gmail.com. And my prices vary. So just send me an email and requesting what you need and would like for me to fix for you, bake for you, and I will give you a price upon your receipt of your email. I do ask that you give me a week's notice based upon the order. So my phone number is 404-798-1420. And thank you in advance for your order. And also, Eldina, the upcoming graduation.
Yes. Yes, yes. Thank you for reminding me. June the 1st, Chosen for His Purpose Bible Institute will be having their virtual graduation at 7 o'clock p.m. So join us right here on Chosen for His Purpose Bible Institute Facebook page. We will post a graduation there. We will be doing it live. Okay, we have some students that are out of state, and so this year we're doing our graduation virtually. Usually we do it in person, but this year we're doing it virtually. So we want you to tune in and celebrate our graduates for 2024. So we hope that you will be able to join us again June the 1st at 7 p.m. Join us right here, okay? And so once again, I thank you for joining us. Make sure you follow Precious Priorities. Minister Solomon is not in today, but please do follow Precious Priorities, where you are a priority, and also continue to follow Chosen for His Purpose Bible Institute. We just look forward to what God is going to do in your life. Father God, we just thank you tonight for this teaching. We thank you for opening up our understanding, Father, for loving us enough, oh God, to equip us for what we need, Father, in this day and time. We pray that you will continue to lead us and guide us, Father, in the way that you would have us to go, that we may use your resources, Father, that will bring forth you glory, oh God, in all that we do. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. God bless you and have a wonderful evening, everyone. Bye
God
bye.
bless. God bless. Amen.
God bless.